learning. I got to order insulation for my garage.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Woohoo!
So I'm going to start doing that. And I've never done that. So this could be a total shit show, but it doesn't look that hard. YouTube's been doing me good.
Yeah, are you gonna do the batting, like the rolls? Or are you gonna put the board up or
Rolls?
Yep.
Yeah, the fiberglass insulation,
Mm-hmm.
I think is what it is. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I got to get all the square footage done today, and then order that and get that all stapled up, and then take my first crack at doing some drywall, which looks again pretty simple. So I've been really enjoying trying to figure all this shit out that I have to do around here. Like I learned how to sharpen a chainsaw the other day. I don't know if I told you guys that, but man, I felt manly after
your
that.
little file thing.
Yeah. And yeah, it's been good. What are you guys up to? Yes, I called Paul this morning and just screaming children everywhere. I got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty much how it's been.
That's exactly what it was like in my house this morning too. Just
Yeah.
freaking absolute chaos.
It was like, oh, Dad's home. We can unleash all of the pent-up energy that we've had. Yeah.
No
Yeah,
sleep
it
for
was
you
rough around here.
guys.
Lacey was trying to get out of the house and get to the gym. They have childcare from 9 to 11, so she was trying to get out. And I have a Zoom Bible study meeting or whatever right at 9 too. So it's like 20 till, and she's trying to get kids in there, and she's like, "Can you help me?" And I'm like trying to help her and trying to get everything set up in the garage. So get on that Zoom meeting, and I'm like, the kids are screaming. There's a mess everywhere. It's like this is our life now. Just craziness.
It's the American dream.
Living the American dream,
baby. American dream.
Yeah, it's.
You overshot the average of 2.5 kids by a little bit, though.
Did I? Which average? Oh, yeah, I did.
That's the national average is,
Yep, 2.5
kids.
Well, I'm trying to bring the average up, baby. You too.
Yeah,
You're doing a good job of bringing the average up.
Mm-hmm.
The average used to be like 16.3, I think.
Probably.
Holy
50 years ago,
shit.
right? You had a bunch of. I'm just kidding. Not
Probably
16,
wasn't the
but
average.
I mean, it used to be it was probably more like 4.
At least, yeah.
You know, I mean, 4 or 5, because there was a lot of people that used to have 6, 7, or 8 kids. There was a guy at WSF, man, what an outstanding guy. And I feel so stupid because I can't remember his first name, but his son was there, right? So his son Roscoe is there, and so I'm talking with him, and his wife runs barrels, and they were at the BFA, I'm going to say it's called. It was a big barrel race in Guthrie or Oklahoma City going on during WSF, and his wife was there with their other 7 children. And I was
Holy smokes.
whoa. He's like, yeah, we've got like a van that pulls our horse trailer and stuff or whatever. And they
That's
got like
cool.
all the kids like junior rodeo, right? So they got like 9 horses, 8 horses. They've got to, take to the junior rodeo, 2 rigs, 8 kids. I'm like, dude,
Man.
that is madness.
Doing it.
Absolute
Doing it.
Yeah,
that's nutty.
You thought junior rodeo was expensive with 4 kids. Double that.
Yeah, dude.
In all horse riding events.
I can only
Holy
imagine.
crap, man.
I can.
How
I'm
was the
assuming-
WSF? I tried
Yeah, I was
calling
gonna
you
ask
like
that too.
6 times when you were there, and you never answered
You
the
called
phone.
me. You called me once while I was there. So let's just clear the air.
I think
right there.
twice,
One time, and I didn't answer because I was mentally exhausted. WSF is amazing. It is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, Doug knows all the deets, but it's crazy to think that those kids can come at WSF.org. If you haven't listened to our podcast on the Western Sports Foundation, you should. We've had Aubrey on, we've had multiple ones. You'll have to scroll back a ways, but I mean, all these things are free. And so it was fantastic. We got in the gym and we got to work. There was like 18 students there and we got to work, and Tosh came and helped, and we taught them to squat one day. We taught them how to deadlift the next day and had some accessory exercises, and we, did some mobility. But I'm just going to tell you, like, they're big days now. I mean, I'm up, like usual, doing notifications and stuff at 4:30 or 5, and meet in the lobby at 7, walk over to the facility, 7:30 breakfast, 8 o'clock workout, 9:30 they have a classroom session, 10:30 they have a classroom session, 11:30 we do like mobility, and then it's lunch, 30-minute lunch, and then more classroom stuff in the afternoon, breakout sessions in the afternoon, and we finish with a little bit of stretching at like we leave the facility at 5:30, and then you walk back, take a shower, change clothes, go to dinner with the rest of the providers, get back at 7:30, 8:30, and then like fall asleep within 6 minutes of being in your room, and you get ready to go do it again the next day. So it's great. It's unbelievable what they're doing for the sport of rodeo, for Western sports in general. It's that facility. If I could live in one of their broom closets without anybody knowing, I totally would. I would just move right in, because the gym and that whole facility is absolutely insane. Bonkers. And yeah, it is definitely bonkers. And so it was a great trip. It was good to get to spend some time with Tosh and hang out with her. She's worked with us for a few years, and I've never spent any time with her outside of a group setting of all of us, and so it was really good to get to chat with her and get to know her a little bit, and pick her brain on some stuff. And so it was a good time. Really good.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome. And for anyone listening, you've got to go to a WSF wellness clinic. If you're an athlete, there is absolutely zero excuse to not go take advantage of this resource. It's 100% free. You literally just have to pay for yourself to get there. 3 days of just absolutely jam-packed information for rodeo athletes when it comes to everything outside the arena, which in turn is the most important part. I know it doesn't seem like that, but rodeo is so much more than just getting on stock, roping, or whatever. To be professional, to be elite, you've got to take advantage of these resources. Go to WSF.org, make a account. It's free. And go to the wellness clinic tab and sign up for the next one. They're coming up. They've got a bunch of them coming up in 2024. Again, zero excuse. Go do it. Take advantage of this shit. It's incredible. It really is. And I'm really glad you got to go, Logan. That's cool, man. Really cool.
Yeah, even if you're an announcer or you're a funny man,
anybody in rodeo,
if you're not a quote unquote athlete, if you're involved in rodeo in any way, shape, or form, and you can just get to Frisco, Texas, they'll take care of the rest. If you can get to Frisco, Texas, you can eat hotel breakfast. They'll feed you breakfast at the facility. They feed you lunch. So you got to take care of dinner on your own. If you can get there and take care of dinner on your own, you are going to get tens of thousands of dollars worth of information in those 3 days. I'm not exaggerating. If you had to pay each one of those providers for the services that they give you, you would literally spend $15,000 or more.
Yeah, at least
to have access to those people at your fingertips for 3 days. It's insanity, is what it is. So, you got to go. Gotta go. Yeah, you guys were up in Wyoming, right? Training camp.
Wyoming.
We were in Wyoming.
We sure was.
That was a jam-packed travel day sandwiched together, and a badass little clinic
Paul
right in
loved
between
it.
there. It was.
Paul loved being sandwiched
he loves traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In tight spaces, tight quarters. Paul was in it. It was like, bro, can you stop?
No, it was really good. It was fun. I was super nervous. I was super nervous just because of the fact of like, it was the first one we've done like at a college setting, and I just didn't. I don't know. I know how well our OPAs go, and I was just like, can we replicate that here? Because it's just a little bit different. And long story short, pretty sure we did it. But at the end of it, it was like the same feeling. Guys were excited that what are you doing? What is Logan doing right now?
Your internet went out for a minute, so it just went blank, and then so you just come back and you're like, so long story short, and me and Logan are like,
long story short, it was a great feeling, and the guys really did it, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Oh my god,
this sounds really good. I was trying my best to control myself. Yeah, I was trying my best to control myself, but continue. I'm sorry, Paul.
I don't even remember where I was. It was fun. It was a good clinic. Everybody was really thankful that all the students were thankful that it happened, I think. And they all made big progress in a really short amount of time. But
it was just different than our normal OPA. We put this together for colleges to use as a recruiting tool and for their teams to further their team's education. And it was on a shortened schedule. So we didn't have 4 days with these guys. But the cool thing about this was being a college rodeo team and recruits coming in, we had a feeling that these athletes were not green. They had experience. They had a foundation set down. And you may have talked about this when you blanked out, Paul. I don't know. I'm sorry if you did. But it was just very different than any other school we've done in that sense, that these guys had a foundation, knew what they were doing. So we get a workout done the first day, do some classroom time, and we're really focusing this classroom time towards college age kids, like what's relevant to them. And we do that with all of our schools, but this in particular, it was different because you're talking to 18, 19-year-old kids. And I remember what I was like at 18 or 19, and I was listening, but I wasn't really soaking it up. I would at a later age, I'm eating it up. I'm taking notes. I'm doing that. And there were definitely some kids taking notes, but a large majority of them were giving us the typical college stare, which is like, this is cool, but I really don't care. And by the end of it, they were all really invested. And especially in the riding portions of this, we made a couple tweaks to them after that first workout. It was game on. So the first time I'd seen all of the bareback riders get on the Spur Magic, and I'm talking about whoop on this thing the first time. And I'm like, okay, we're ready for horses. Like, we've timed this perfectly on the old time scales. So it went really well. Those guys and good handful of their girls joined in on the school and helped us with everything. Those girls were handy as shit. They were working out gates and doing all kinds of stuff. But it was really cool. I think the guys and girls really loved it. We had nothing but praise after it, and to see every single guy get so much better in literally 48 hours. It was nuts. And then we had Paul on the bull riding for the first time, which was freaking awesome. And those guys got way better, man. And that was the younger set of kids. That was a lot of the recruits that were still in high school and stuff.
High school kids.
What was your experience like with that?
Man, it was good. I think I've found some things that I need to work on as as a coach in that setting. I've helped at plenty of bull riding schools before, but like this is my first one, like taking the reins and like going like from start to finish. And with the younger group, I feel like I assumed a little bit too much, like that they were a little more, which they rode really well, but like I think their head knowledge and their like mechanics, like there was a disconnect there. Like maybe they didn't understand why they were doing some of the things, and I feel like I could have done a little bit better job explaining that, like from the get go, like just starting like almost not quite assuming that they know nothing, but like start a little bit at more of a foundational level. But man, it was really fun because I told you on our way there I was reading Mind Gym, the book, and one of the examples that they took about we talk about press or outcome and performance based goals all the time, and one of the things that he had outlined in the book about performance goals was think of the outcome goals and think about like what's happening during that, like when everything's going well, like when you're on your way to your outcome goal, things are going well, you're on a hot streak, like what's happening there, and then write that down. And then what he would do is he'd hand him a 3x5 card and say, write this down, and then flip over your 3x5 card. Now write down the things that you need to do to make sure that happens. And so that's what we did. We did that. We got on the drop barrel there. We set goals for each out. Every bull that they got on, they had a goal that they were going to try to do on that specific bull. And, for some guys, it was like, just set your hips more, or like lift on your rope a little bit, or, drive out to the front this way, or whatever it was. Like each guy had one goal that they needed to work on, and they nailed it. Like by the fourth bull, they were hitting their goals, and, maybe they didn't ride all the way to the whistle, but like they got their goal. Like they set the foundation. They had something to build off of that. And it was really cool to see that.
That's awesome.
Super awesome.
Good work.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It was great. Any college rodeo coaches listening out there, or parents of college rodeo athletes, let the coaches know that we are doing these 4 rodeo teams. We'd love to get out there to more so we can spread this awesome information out there. So, guys, I have been getting a lot of questions about. Actually, it's more like bitching from my clients that they don't have enough time because they're too busy. And I get it. If we're going into a busy time of year, holidays are coming up, NFR's coming up. we can definitely get workouts in. We just have to prioritize them, and we have to figure out, uh, what our actual goal is throughout this time period. And hopefully you've had a goal set before this. And for instance, I want to gain more muscle before the new year. Cool. I've been wanting to do that for a couple of months. I'm still working on that. My time is going to be limited now. I got 30 minutes, maybe 3 times a week that I can work out. Should I lift weights or should I do cardio? And that's the question I've been getting, is if I am going to do these limited sessions, these quick workouts, what the hell do I do? What do I prioritize, and how do I set them up? And I think that's a really good thing that I want to talk about today. And I know you guys have probably had similar questions from clients or people just reaching out, like, what do you prioritize? How do you get 30 minutes in? And it's really not that difficult.
No, I think that we see it a lot just in our culture, right? Like my wife was mentioning, she's got a friend that goes to the gym, and every time she's in there, she's on the Stairmaster or the elliptical, or obviously Lacey goes in and she's doing some weightlifting. She works with Coach Meg, and so she's moving some weight around, but she sees her friend, and her friend is like always on some sort of cardio equipment. And yeah, and Lacey's asked her, like, hey, what are you, like, how are you doing? And she's always like, oh, just trying to burn some calories, like just trying to get those extra steps in and burn those calories. And it's just something that we typically see. If somebody has 20 minutes to work out, what do most people left to their own devices do? They go and
Nothing.
they go hop on a treadmill, or they go
or
hop,
nothing.
if they're
They do
nothing
nothing.
is probably actually the most appropriate answer. But if they are going to do something, they're going to hop on a bike or a treadmill or something like that and do a little bit of cardio first. It's just kind of, I feel like naturally by default where we go to.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And I really think that when we're sitting here, as somebody who's wanting to get a quick session in, cardio is not bad if your goal is to lose body fat. If your main goal is to lose body fat, you could definitely go do cardio, and it would go move you towards your goal for sure. If your goal is to increase your muscular strength and your aesthetics, resistance training is definitely going to be the most bang for the buck when it comes to a quick session, 20, 30 minutes, go bang out some resistance training. We're going to talk about reps. We're going to talk about how many exercises here in just a second, but you've got to decide what your goal is. Also, you could do both in a scenario that way, in a short workout situation, no problem. All it takes is proper programming. You need to have a coach that can set up a workout and design a workout like that for you, so you can get your resistance training and your cardio in. Boom, done. 30 minutes. If you're having trouble with that, that's why we're here. We can help you out. Go check out championlivingfitness.com. Free consultation form. Use the athlete sign up form. We'll answer all your questions for free. We'll make sure we're teaming up with the right coach, and we can definitely help you in, especially these times where high stress, lots of shit going on. Just need a no thinking, show up to the gym plan, in and out in 30 minutes. We got you. Check it out. Sign up the form. Let's go. Sorry, had to. Shameless plug. But
no, it's a good point though, because I want to hang on. I want to stick on that for a second, because like I was dealing with this a little bit. I talked about several weeks ago after doing my competition, my weightlifting competition, and then coming into these next few busy months. Like I was considering breaking ties with my coach for a couple days, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to make any real progress towards weightlifting during this time. And then after I sat down and thought about it, I was like, no, this is the time where I need to coach the most, because I'm going to be busy. I'm not going to have time to think about my own workouts. It's going to be doubly hard to hold myself accountable. Like this is the time where I need somebody in my ear helping me along the way. And the comes back. I saw a quote the other day. It was something about like, if you wait until you're not busy to start something, you'll never start it. Because if you can't do it when you're busy, you'll never do it when you're not busy. Because if you can do it when you're busy and you create the habits during the busy time, that's going to make it so much easier when you're not busy. It's going to feel like you're running downhill because you're just coasting at that point. But as soon as you get busy again, you'll stop if you start it when you're not busy. Once you are busy again, which is inevitable, it's going to happen, you're going to fall right back off the wagon. And so like I had to have like that real serious conversation with myself, is like, okay, like, you know why you hired a coach in the first place. Like, this is the reason right here. Like, just because we're not making serious progress towards a specific goal, like, we at least can still do something during this time when it's really busy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let's talk about some ways that people can do this. And I would say, let's start off with someone that wants to get stronger and then somebody that wants to improve their endurance. Very different things, but I want to talk about the spectrum of each. We've got 20, 30 minutes, like we said. I'll start with resistance training. What I would do, most resistance training programs, I don't know, something that we're writing, depending on who the person is, they could have upwards of 8 or 9 movements in them. You know, it's not just 2 or 3. And so what I would do is pick out those 2 or 3 exercises per workout that you are really wanting to focus on. Either it's a weakness of yours or it's going to propel you closer towards that goal of increasing your strength. 2 to 3 exercises, stick to that 6 to 8 reps and complete, I don't know, four sets of each, but rest adequately in between sets. So we talk about that. What's that? Four sets, 2 to 3 exercises, 2 minutes of rest. Yeah, you're about 30 minutes there. You're probably about 10 minutes per movement with the rest time included, maybe a little bit less.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easily doable in that 30-minute section. 2 or 3 exercises, 6 to 8 reps, 4 sets, resting 2 minutes in between sets. Boom. You've got a sweet pump. You're leaving the gym feeling better. Yahtzee. What about cardio, guys? What would you suggest to somebody short in time wants to work on that endurance?
Well, yeah, on a shortened time frame, I mean, like the biggest bang for your buck cardio wise is going to be something high intensity. I mean, it just there's been studies that have shown, body fat percentage decreases over a 6-week period with people that have done some sort of like 10 seconds on, 20 seconds off, 10 seconds on, 40 seconds off type high intensity sprint type training, whether it's on the treadmill or on a bike, versus that person who spent 30 minutes, 3 times a week doing some sort of steady state cardio. And at the end of 6 weeks, the high intensity people actually lost more body fat. Their body fat percentage was more favorable for the sprint people as opposed to and so, for, like you were talking about with resistance training, that's essentially what I've been doing up until about 2 weeks ago is these just, micro doses. We almost call them 30-minute workouts where you just have 2 or 3 exercises. And then I can pair that in the afternoon if I want to do some conditioning or the next day with some sort of 20-minute to 30-minute, a really thorough warm up. And then I can get after it on some sprints. I've got an assault bike, or I can go out. The weather's decent. I can go out on the road and do some sort of high intensity, working up to maximal effort over a couple sets and do, 2 or 3 sets at maximal effort and then a really good cool down afterwards. I'm resting plenty of time in between those sets, right? Because anything, just like with the resistance training, if we're going to be doing high intensity cardio, rest is very important. We want to be able to give maximal effort. If you're using 6 to 8 reps in your resistance training, that's the reason Doug's saying 2 minutes rest. So you can give maximal effort again on the next set. Same thing with your conditioning. You want to be able to give maximal effort. And if you sprint for 10 seconds and rest for 30 seconds, after 4 sets, you're going to be done. You're not going to be accomplishing that desired stimulus anymore. And so it would really be more like resting, sprint for 10 seconds, rest for a minute, rest for a minute and a half, somewhere around in there would be a good time frame for a few sets. And really you have 10 to 15 minutes for a very thorough, appropriate warm up. And then really your actual work, depending on how many sets you do, 5, 8, 9 minutes of actual work in that conditioning workout, and then a good cool down for anywhere from 5 to 10 or 15 minutes. Boom, you're done. 20, 25, 30 minutes. And I think that you'll see if you implement that, say twice a week over the course of the next 6 to 8 weeks, you'll actually see better results in your body composition, and endurance type. Like, I mean, it helps with the endurance training as well. You'll actually see better results at the end of 6 to 8 weeks in training that way, as opposed to just doing some steady state for 20 minutes.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and that falls into like the same category of like the popularization of HIIT workouts too, like high intensity interval training. And what I usually see people do when they say they're doing HIIT workouts is more like low intensity until they can't any longer. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like they're not getting the high intensity benefit that, or the added, they're not implementing the high intensity stimulus in the way that it's was intended to. So like there's plenty of studies about, HIIT workouts and the benefits of fat loss and stuff, but what they end up doing is like a low intensity or steady state uh workout with weights or kettlebells or battle ropes or whatever, and it's like you're really not tapping into the systems here that we're trying to get the benefit out of. And so it kind of falls into exactly the same thing that Logan was talking about, like 100% output and then rest, and then 100% output and then rest. Like we're doing intervals at high intensity. We're not just moving for 30 minutes straight without stopping.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, that's a good thing to clarify. And I think a lot of, and what we're talking about right now is more like sport specific. You are someone that has specific goals of increasing your strength for sport. You have an increase, like you want to increase your aerobic capacity, usually for sport. We're not talking about just general population right now. We are going to next, but I just want to clarify, like we're talking about people that have specific goals. You want to increase your endurance, you want to increase your strength. These are how you're going to do that in those 30-minute quick sessions when you don't have time. For general population, I'm going to change what I said there and say, like, if you're someone that just wants to increase the benefits of fitness for your health and look better, resistance training is going to be the number one way to do that with 30 minutes. You need to go lift a little bit of weight, and this would be more of a functional style, but again, still the same thing. 2, 3, 4 exercises, that's it. 4 sets, 6 to 8 reps, some rest time in between, like we're talking about. The reason that we say this is the best, or I do at least, the most effective when it comes to exercise and getting the most bang for your buck, is that thermic effect it has on the metabolism after you get done. You continue to burn calories even after you're done lifting weights. That does not happen with cardio or HIIT. It's just done when you're done. So someone is trying to lose weight, increase their health, feel better, man, go lift some weights, get into some resistance training, get you a properly programmed program, and it'll change your life. There's so many more benefits too than just getting stronger and feeling better. The cognitive abilities increase, your bone health increases, everything is working better together, and you are going to see huge benefits, even with 3 to 4 times per week with those quick 30 minutes. I mean, how many times do you guys hear, I don't have 60 minutes, it's not worth anything. This 20 minutes ain't going to do shit.
Yeah.
but
The truth is, if we do it 3 or 4 times a week, you're going to see substantial changes in your body.
Yep.
Because of the consistency, right?
Yeah. I completely agree. And that resistance training, even 20 minutes, I had this conversation yesterday with a client actually who they're on they're a time crunch. They're working really hard and they're like, I did the workouts and I can get them in, but I just don't feel anything. And I don't feel like I'm not sweating. I'm not really breathing super hard. And, they've also never completed more than 2 workouts consecutively. Without at least another week off. I'll put that out there. And they've been with me for a couple months. And so I talked with them about, well, just trust me. How about if you just trust the process for 30 days and hit all your workouts for 30 days and 20 minutes of resistance training? Sure, you're not going to feel probably like you just wrecked yourself, but that's not the goal. The goal of resistance training is to be able to increase lean tissue. We want to add muscle. And maybe you hear that and you're like, you get this picture of Arnold in your head or some big jacked girl. That's not the intent. The intent is to increase a little bit of your lean tissue, because what that's going to do is that's going to increase your metabolism. 1 pound of muscle or lean tissue, it's more expensive calorie wise to survive than 1 pound of body fat. And so if we add a little bit of muscle, what we see is that your metabolism rises a little bit. And over the course of 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, you'll start to see your body composition change and you'll lose body fat, but you'll gain a little bit of muscle. The scale might not change as much. And like Doug said, bone density, all kinds of tissue health, just the way that you function, playing with the kids, getting in and out of the truck, everything is going to benefit, reap the rewards of even 20 minutes a couple times a week resistance training versus 20 minutes a couple times a week of cardio.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what you're talking about here is if, and we've talked about this before, but if somebody's new listening, if you want your muscles to tone, if you want to look more toned, like that's what Logan's talking about right now. The toned look, quote unquote, is an increase in muscle mass. And so like you said, it's not Arnold, it's
Muscle.
Toned is like, kind of the end goal that we're looking for here. And we're just adding a little bit of muscle and decreasing our body fat percentage by proxy. And we're getting a more visibly pleasing look out of our body at the same time.
Yep, absolutely. For the record, I hate toned. That word really pisses me off.
It's not a real word.
It's not a real word. Yeah, it's not a. It's just become so popular. Like you have to kind of explain it in the way that people will resonate. Because like I mean, you look anywhere you look, or you ask anybody like if they would want to look more toned, like they're gonna say yes because they understand like what that is in their mind at least. But yeah, your muscles don't necessarily like tone. Like it's not a real
toning's for printers.
Thing. You just toning for printers.
It is.
What we're doing is just adding lean muscle mass.
Absolutely. No, agreed, guys. Agreed. Let's talk about further down the road. So someone has been doing this 3 or 4 times a week. They've been consistent with it. They're seeing changes. They get 6 months into this and we hit a plateau. We stop seeing changes. We stop seeing the effects of the workouts working. And we need to change some things up. And so I'll just say me, for instance, all of us actually, we do resistance training is our primary source of training. We're lifting weights constantly, changing the stimulus of what we're doing in the weight room, whether it's hypertrophy, strength, power, we're changing the stimulus. Eventually, as I work through those throughout the year, I'm going to start hitting some plateaus. My body's not changing how I want it to. I'm not seeing the numbers increase I want to. Or I start to increase one side and the other part of my system is starting to decrease because I haven't been paying attention to it. So what I will do is change things up just to keep it simple. And I'll focus on some cardio or some improving my endurance for 2 or 3 periods a year, and whether that's 4 weeks, 6 weeks, just something to change it up and restart the system and say, hey, we don't just do lifting weights all day long. Like your body gets used to that, right? And we need to change it up. And I'm not gonna lie, I fucking die that first week. Like my body is like, what is going on? And I might keep the volume low because I'm just easing in, but all of a sudden you're like, what the hell? And then when I get back to that weight room, and I'm still lifting weights during those cardio sessions, just not as the primary source. So it'll be something to maintain the strength I have. But yeah, it gets it gets a little spicy.
You and me both, baby. I just started a new program and I've been doing my own programming for about the last 8 months, and I knew I was busy. I haven't really been following a program. I just, I push, I pull, I do some lower body, and I just roll in that order and take, rest days as needed and whatnot. Well, I finally am like home for more than 3 days consecutively. And so I'm like, I'm going to start a program. Right. So I started somebody else's program, and it's got a lot of, I don't say a lot. It has a lot more conditioning than I'm used to, right? Some sprints and some anaerobic stuff. And there's a lot of new movements in there, and I am wrecked. I'm like, okay, this is how I know I needed this. And what I've noticed though, the crazy thing, just paying attention to biofeedback by changing my workout stimulus, is I'm actually probably working out less time. Most of the workouts take me about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. But before I was doing 2 workouts a day that lasted 30 to 45 minutes. So volume wise, I'm probably doing less. I'm sleeping way better. I am popping up at 4:30 in the morning without an alarm, ready to rock and roll. I wake up sometimes to go to the bathroom at like 2 in the morning, and I'm like, yes, it's time to get up. I'm like ready for the day. And then I look at my watch and I'm like, I have to go back to bed for another 2 hours. I can't get up right now. And so I'm my sleep is better. Like my body composition, I'm already starting to see some changes and feel stronger. And I'm really just on about week 2 of this new program. And the lifts are the same from week 1 to week 2. And week 1, I was like dying. on some of those movements just to get through the workout. It was really difficult. And this week, it's insane how much more efficient I am at those movements, and just all the biofeedback, paying attention to what my body's saying. It's saying new stimulus. That was what we needed. And I'm expecting to see pretty crazy results over the course of 6 weeks by just doing something new.
Yeah, you definitely will. You definitely will, man. That's awesome. Yeah, changing the stimulus. Focus on adding that in throughout your macro cycle here, that year-long cycle. Make sure you are changing up some of the things you're doing. But just to wrap this up, if you're dealing with limited time and you decide, cardio or resistance training is your way to go, you just need to make sure you're doing these things at a high intensity because of the short amount of time. You need to just almost be more focused. Not almost. You need to be more focused during these sessions and really focus on the intent, which is the high intensity of them, getting the rest time and repeating that each set at the max intensity that you can do to get the most bang for your buck here. You guys have anything else to wrap that up?
Nailed it.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Mic drop.
Awesome. Well, I hope this was helpful for the listeners. If you guys have any questions, please shoot us a DM, shoot us a message. If you guys are interested in training, need a coach, need some guidance, hit us up. Go to championlivingfitness.com. Fill out that athlete sign-up form. It's a free consultation. Charges you nothing. You get to talk to one of us and get all your questions answered, and we'll get you set up with the best coach for you. This is extremely important, especially this time of year. Y'all get someone that can hold you accountable, and no thinking about having to go to the gym and do it, make your own workout is the best thing ever. So, again, take advantage of the coaching opportunities we have if that sounds or resonates with you. Guys, got to thank our sponsors. Beastmaster Rodeo, been with us since day one. They are changing the game in rodeo gear. Check them out, beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving. All one word, uppercase, going to save you 10% on all Beastmasters gear and Hui brands. Just got another new hoodie in yesterday. Got a new couple lids. We all did. Boys are looking good. Guys, Hui is awesome. We love their gear. We are rocking it 24/7. Check them out at getyourhui.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word. Going to save you 10% and all Hui brands. Guys, until next time, we'll catch you later.